Thank you so much for letting me speak to you guys today. Today, we're going to talk about storytelling skills and unleashing that as a superpower. I'm going to move around the screen a little bit. Okay. So first of all, I want you to imagine you have just completed a big analysis and have figured out a way to save the company a few millions of dollars. Now you have to present your findings to the C-suite and not only get them to understand what you've done, but also believe in and execute on your recommendations. How are you going to accomplish this? Well, by telling a story, of course, because that's your superpower. So I actually read I don't think it's a new article, but I read a Harvard Business Review article that said facts are 20 times more likely to be remembered if they're part of a story. Now, these days, storytelling is quite the buzzword because it is so important to everything that we do. Making sure the point hits home with our audience is really critical to everyone's success. Storytelling and effective communication is one of those skills that we will forever be improving and perfecting in our careers. And I imagine you already know that because that's why you joined us here today. So we're going to run through some of my favorite reminders for effective storytelling, and then we're going to go into our smaller breakout groups and discuss your favorite suggestions. So Leena's tips and tricks for storytelling. Number one, be human. Yes, business is business, and there will always be things that are appropriate and things that are not. Be sure to check out number two on the list as well. But you're human, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the person that you are talking to or communicating with is also human. So humor, kindness, appropriate vulnerability all matter and can make a big difference in helping you connect with your audience. Speaking of your audience, know your audience. This is a really common reminder for a reason because it is so important. But what is less common is the idea that actually your audience should be the hero of your story. You'll likely want to make yourself the hero. That's the knee-jerk reaction. It's your presentation, your analysis. You want to be the hero. But actually, it's the audience should be the hero. Consider this powerful statement. Hey, C-suite executive, if you do X, you will save the company $1 million. On a complete side note, for any Mike Myers, Austin Powers fans out there, it was really, really hard for me to say that in a normal voice and not do it in a funny voice with my finger like that. If you know, you know, but I digress. We'll get back to our original discussion of audience, knowing your audience and making them the hero. So going back to our C-suite executive statement, how much more likely do you think that person is going to be to take your recommendation when you frame it like that? It's a really powerful method for presenting information and data. So for the sake of clarity and conciseness, we're going to combine 3 and 4 on this list, because they also go really well together. Generally speaking, we're data nerds. I'm a data nerd. I love the numbers, but the rest of the world, not so much. They pay me to worry about the numbers and the facts so that they don't have to. So consider the difference in these two examples. 75% of respondents reported a difference or reported a preference for item X. Okay, it's to the point, it's short, it's simple, it's exactly what the stakeholder needed to know, but it's kind of boring, I suppose. And especially if this is in a long list of statements, there's a good chance they've fallen asleep by the time you've gotten to this one. Or option 2, 3 out of every 4 respondents that I talked to prefer item X because it gives them more time to spend with their families. Saving time is important to customers, but the real value in item X is giving these busy moms more time with their families. Obviously, 2 very big differences in these 2 statements. One is super simple, but one just gives a lot more color, commentary, and context to the data and the information being given to the audience. Number 5, story structure. I know, I know. This is probably one of those, duh, Leena. I know all about beginning, middle, and end. But do you? When is the last time you considered your story structure and where the delineations for beginning, middle, and end actually are? Because if you're not sure, then your audience definitely can't tell when your presentation is supposed to be over. And if you've never investigated it before, I actually encourage you to do some research on the topic. The quest and the reluctant ruler are just two of many examples of different story types. And for the sake of simplicity, here I've just put beginning, middle, and end to summarize it. But in reality, there are many different standardized story tropes that you can use to help you build powerful narratives. I've the benefits of having clear story structure when your presentations. But ultimately, it's all about keeping your audience engaged, interested, and eager to hear more about what you have to say. As I'm sure we've all been there, as a presenter, there is nothing worse when you look across your screen or look across your audience and you can tell at least half of them have already fallen asleep or checked out. And we definitely don't want that. And last, but definitely not least, and this is probably my favorite. Excuse me. It never fails that you get like a tickle in your throat when you're doing a presentation. Murphy's Law. All right, number 6. And last, but my favorite is when you get to you've built your story, you've built your presentation, you've gotten to the end, ask yourself, is this something that I would enjoy sitting through? Even data enthusiasts will get bored sitting through an endless list of pie charts and graphs. So it's really important that you take off your narrator or take off your content creator hat and put on your audience hat and reevaluate the work that you have done. Do a final check. Ask yourself, is this something that I would enjoy sitting through? But don't just do a check on like, is it boring? You want to ask yourself, was the content useful? Was it effective? Is it actionable? Is this something that I'm going to remember once I've walked away from this meeting? Facts and data are important in all aspects of our lives, but that doesn't mean they are interesting and or easy to listen to and follow, especially in a presentation. So making storytelling your superpower, including making your audience the hero of that story, allows you to save the world one presentation at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Leena. What question do we have for our breakout groups today?
So because we are talking about storytelling, and I know this is, like we've talked, a super popular topic, I thought our breakout session would be, now everybody gets to bring to the table, what are your favorite tips and tricks for storytelling? What would you like to share with the group?